cold at the touch, dead in the eyes, no signs of life no more. I put your love under the knife. Leave me to die here all alone. No signs of life no more, no. A crying dove may never fly. Black and white. Yeah. Black and white. Oh, 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 oh. It's black and white. Black and white, just let me go. It's only right. For all I know, it's only matter. It's calico, it's black and white. White, white, white. Just let me go. It's only right. For all I know, it's only matter. It's calico, it's black and white. White, white, white. Black and white. Yeah. Black and white. Oh, 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 oh. It's black and white. Black and white.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the British Boring Car Championship and another pair of rounds this evening. My name is Chaz Draycott, and we're here at Silverstone, the wonderful and much-loved British home of motorsport. What a great evening we've got ahead of us here. And I tell you one thing, the drivers are going to be under a lot of pressure to perform here. It's a very difficult circuit to get right, with it being so flat. there's not really anywhere that you can gain time or, to be honest, lose much time in terms of elevation change. But if we look at this, trust me, look at this. This is very spicy. These are the current championship standings. Calvin Dent and Maciej Sakovic, 2 independents at the top of the standings. Calvin Dent becoming the first independent to win a round of the championship last time out at Donington Park. Jake Robertson, a win in the first race really helped him, but only 2 points from getting second position in qualifying is kept him really in third place. Matt Draycott 4th, he'll be happy with that so far. Steve Burke 5th, and Louis Hanker as well. Louis Hanker, the only driver that is not taking part this evening in the entire lineup of the championship. Tom Jacobs was on for a win in race 1 and then memorably got sent skyward after his difficult connection. Basically exaggerated the contact with him and Jake. Liam Silkstone 8th ahead of Michael Ellett and Paul Smith rounds out the top 10. A couple of drivers not scoring yet so far this season. However, we're here at Silverstone. It's a beautiful place to be, and we have cars out on track. This is your championship leader, Calvin Dent. He is currently in 11th position at the moment in the Team Drymanics dubbed car. Apparently no sound. Oh, it's Rob Lundgren. Well done, mate. You scared me for a second there, Rob. But this is your championship leader, Calvin Dent. And to be honest, I think, if I'm honest, he was probably quite surprised to be up there after round 1. But we'll bring him in for a quick chat. Calvin, you said you were like an elephant up a tree after last week. How are you feeling ahead of this round, mate?
Where I am in practice, yeah, the exact opposite.
Yeah, it's not installing me with much confidence in the minute either, mate. But this is the thing with this championship that we were talking about just the other day. It's the fact that it's all so close and it's so competitive, isn't it?
Yeah, I think, there's a lot of good drivers in it that I've seen so far. I didn't realise it was going to be as competitive as it is in some ways, to be fair. So it's it's quality, to be fair, because it's actually given me a reason to push a lot harder than I normally would.
That's always good to hear. Well, you're the top independent at the moment. What are you making of the Jetta as a race car? I know some people have driven it before, but just done a bit of a hot lap as if it was for a laugh. But racing it competitively, what have you made of this car?
Calling it a race car is kind of using that term quite loosely. No, it's a really odd car to drive because I'm used to the Mazda. So
Yeah.
To go to this, whereas the Mazda, you turn in more, you spin. To this, if you want to go fast, you turn in and keep turning in as much as you possibly can. It's quite a weird experience, but it's quite fun. It's a lot more fun than I thought it would be, to be fair.
Yeah, we have had a lot of people saying that, that it surprises you how much fun it is to drive, but still, you've been able to get some pace out of it, but hopefully tonight is even more of an interesting race meeting than we had last time out. But I'll leave you to it, mate, and I'll chuck you back in the fish pool with the rest of them. But enjoy it,
mate.
and we'll speak to you very, very soon.
Yeah, hopefully so.
Cheers.
Bud.
Calvin Dent there, your championship leader in the independents category as well. I will just show you the standings in the Mediocre Cup for Independents as well, just so you can keep an eye on it. There are only 4 of them, but it's Calvin Dent and Maciej Sakovic who are 1st and 2nd in the championship. Paul Smith, he's 10th overall in the championship at the moment. And Michael Jones, we actually haven't seen Michael out yet this season. This is his first race meeting tonight, so we get our first chance. And it's also our first chance to see Josh Rayfield in the Team Red Ring machine, teammate to Matt Draycott. Josh was very, very quick last season, took a couple of race wins, memorably going around the outside of Dennis Melchett at Alton Park at Druids as well. An incredible manoeuvre that surprised a lot of us. Just trying to see who else we've got out this week that we didn't see last time. Derek Robb is the other driver. Louis Hanker, like I said, isn't here. Here's Steve Burke and Tom Jacobs in the Nodaphone team. The pair of them hoping to work together as best they can. Tom currently fastest at the moment at 1:33.8. It's a very good time. Steve Burke, he was also very quick last week, but unfortunately the only driver to get disqualified from the feature race due to hitting the incident point limit. After a little bit of contact, I believe it was with Paul Smith. Tangy in the chat, good to see you, mate. Hope you're well. It's great to see these two teammates working together. Here's, Niall Crowther off the circuit. What's happened to Niall? You're going to see a lot of cars losing it into here, you know. As soon as they hit that curb there and it gets wobbling. Oh, he's actually hit the grass as well. That's a big off for Niall. The car very sideways and into the barrier. Quite a light hit on the wall there on his way in. Come on, timing software. There you go. So he's now sat in the pit lane at the moment. Michael Blake out there on circuit at the moment in 9th place. His teammate Andy Fox is in 10th. The two of them barely separated by anything. It's very close in these times at the moment. But Might Just Fit are the reigning team champions. So they're looking for, let's just say, less contact this week than they had last week. The two of them smacked into each other at turn 1. Ben Williams is another one to watch for Team Jane Fonda, teammate of Derek Robb. And this is Ben Lambert's first race in VR as well. Ben Lambert, teammate of Niall Crowther at Dodge MOT. But Ben Williams basically put the car on pole. But as is the format of this championship, the top 10 get reversed for the sprint race. So you get 3 points for putting it on pole, so you get some points for your troubles at least. And you get 2nd place gets you 2 points, and then 3rd place gets you 1 point. That's in qualifying. Here's Jake Robertson in the number 22 machine. Jake won the first round of the season for Bordeaux. So a win on his debut. He's been racing in the iRacing World Rallycross Championship as well, and doing a good job for Apex Racing Team. They've teamed up with Yokohama this season as well for that. Very impressive stuff. Paul Smith is out there tonight. Now I want to give a special shout out to Paul because he's racing this evening with a hernia. He was uncomfortable on Monday night when we commentated on the World GT Championship together, and then he found out that it was a hernia. So fair play to you, Paul, for sticking with it. Hopefully he completes the race evening and does well as well. But we'll keep an eye on Paul's progress. His friend Maciej Sakovic and teammate at Team Mad, Maciej Sakovic, 2nd in the championship at the moment. And as I said, Maciej's definitely one to watch because that car, that Arena International car, in that livery, won the Independence Championship last season at the hands of Matt Draycott, and the number 88 was the overall drivers' champion, Dennis Melchert. So, like I say, very, very good recipe there. Here's your current fastest driver in practice, though, Tom Jacobs. Doing a sterling job again, showing that he's got some real pace. He qualified 10th at Donington, but that put him on pole position. Now, this is something to keep an eye on, his internet tonight. He qualified 10th at Donington, that put him on pole. And basically, he just drove away from everybody in the sprint race, so he might be hoping to do that again tonight, but he wants some championship points for getting it on pole. This is his teammate Steve Burke that we're on board with now. These drivers don't half push these cars, I tell you. They really do push them to their absolute limits. And it's great fun to watch. Absolutely loving it so far. Liam Silkstone and Maciej Sakovic both a bit further down the order than expected. Especially Maciej down in 19th position. But we've only got 20 seconds of practice left to go. And then we're going to get into it. And we're going to have the qualifying session for rounds 3 and 4 of the championship. I clicked on focus on crashes and it looks at Matt Draycott. There you go. Let's have a look at Michael Ellett, who's just gone round turn 1 in the Team Netcode car. Him and his teammate Carl Jacquelet are looking to get some good points in this round. A bit of a steady start to the season as Michael decides to go on the Grand Prix circuit now that practice is over. See you in a bit. Right then. Time for the big one. The main qualifying session. Thank you, Overlay. Make your mind up. I want to go on board with... Let's go on board with Michael Jones. It's his first time out this season in the Paula Cook liveried car. I want to see how Michael gets on in this session. It's good to see that car back out. I am a huge fan of that livery. Very big fan of that livery. It looked fantastic on the Honda Accord in 1998. And I believe 1999 as well. Tommy Rustad also ran that livery on a Renault Laguna in, I believe that was 98 and 99 as well. But based on the first round, I don't really think that we can pick any favourites for this race meeting because this championship has been so tight. Honestly, I don't have a clue. Keep an eye on Josh Rayfield in the background as well, in the Team Red Ring Audi replica, this car here. He's got the red windscreen banners, and if we look for Matt Draycott, you'll just see him going into shot. Now, he's got the yellow windscreen banner and wing mirrors. But we'll go back to Michael Jones. And we'll see what he can manage, shall we? We'll go on board for a lap, so you can hear the torture of these poor tyres on these VW Jet as they're running Pirelli tyres. There's a car ahead going slowly. That's Derek Robb. It's his first time out this season as well. So good to see Derek on the grid. Down the start-finish straight we go then. Across the line. Down towards Copse. Don't forget this is the old Silverstone layout that we're doing. It's very fast corner as Copse. You don't want to use too much AstroTurf though like that. That'll give you a 1x, or an incident point as it's known, and that'll mean your lap is invalid. Down towards Maggots and Beckett's then. Into the left, through to the right. Now you want to get on the brakes just at the right, although Michael, it's got away from him. That's a big slide, plants it, puts his foot down, saves it, will go back on board. Back onto the old International loop then, around the back of the circuit. Love this section of the track, down towards the, I think it's called the Abbey hairpin. I should really know this. It's a very tricky hairpin to get right. You're sort of gradually going over to the left as you're on the brakes, turning it into the right. Try and let the car run out wide, but not too much. There's a huge lump in the grass on the left-hand side. If you really run out wide, that'll take you off. Down towards Bridge. Absolutely gutted they don't use Bridge Corner anymore. It's one of the best corners in the country. Or it was. Absolutely sending it is Michael Jones. I tell you what, you can't question his commitment. Who's that? Is that Ben Williams? Oh, it's maybe making contact. You don't want to make contact in qualifying, boys, because that invalidates your laps. Into Luffield. Around the final corner. And on the throttle to go across the line. He's got Josh Rayfield behind him as well. Draycott sets the first time a 1:34.0. It's a good lap. 1:33.7 by Jake Robertson. Don't forget the fastest time in practice was a 1:33.8 by Tom Jacobs. Where's he? He's just in front of his teammate Steve Burke. Ben Williams 1:34.8 at the moment. 1:34.9 for Michael Ellett. But Robertson, that's a very impressive time. Derek Robb, top 3 at the moment. I know, fair enough that only 6 cars, have qualified. 7. Niall Crowther, a 1:35.6. Not good stuff from Niall there. He's going to want to improve that. They've got 15 minutes, then it's a 15-minute sprint race, and then a half-hour feature race with a mandatory pit stop where they must take 2 tyres. Jacobs goes into 5th place, a 1:34.3. Steve does a 1:34.1 and goes 3rd fastest at the moment. The pit stops, by the way, are reviewed after the race. So the result stands temporarily while we're still in the server. Here's Andy Fox. He's just behind Michael Jones on track. Rob Lundgren has gone off the circuit somewhere. Andy's got big hopes for this season. He had a bit of an untidy first race meeting, so he's going to want better things here. And I want better for him as well. He's a top bloke, Andy. We've been playing a lot of Rocket League together. Me, him, Matt, Tom Jacobs, Josh Rayfield and a few others. And Calvin Dent, who's surprisingly good at it. Across the line then goes Andy Fox. And 3rd fastest at 1:34.0. 0.05 of a second off Matt Draycott's time. Carl Jacquelette has not yet put a time in, but here he is across the line. Calvin Dent goes fastest in the independents. Oh, Michael Ellett has had a nightmare off at turn 1, but he's 5th fastest at the moment. Jacquelette at 1:35.9, 2/10 off Niall Crowther. Ben Lambert down there as well in 13th place. Oh, Rob Lundgren's gone off the circuit. That's twice Rob's gone off track now. What's happened here? Rob had a really tough time here in the last race meeting of the season. Oh, the car's just got away from him, touches the grass, although... Oh, he's just gone way too hot into there. Decides to pull it over. And that is that. Back out the pits he goes. Tom Jacobs has gone second fastest now, a 1:34.063, so he's only 14 thousandths of a second ahead of Matt Draycott. If I show you the intervals between each car, look at some of those. 5 thousandths behind Draycott is Foxy, and then 14 thousandths behind Jacobs is Draycott. So close. Michael Elliott doing a standout job at the moment. In 6th, there's Josh Rayfield having a real wobble through Maggots and Beckett's. On the power he goes, believe it or not. Michael Blake goes up to 9th. Don't forget, the car that ends up 10th on the grid will actually start the sprint race in pole position, but you get 3 points for qualifying on pole, 2 points for second and 1 for third. So it's worth it for the points. Just want to keep an eye on how Josh gets on. Maciej Sakovic is in 11th, just ahead of Paul Smith. Jack Alette just goes up to 12th now and displaces Paul. Crowther has improved. Jones is now 1.8 seconds off, so not even 2 seconds separating the field. That's good stuff. Very close. Liam Silkstone and Rob Lundgren, the 2 Ericsson Hitos cars, are the only 2 cars not to have put a lap in yet. So they need to sort out whatever they're doing. Liam goes very wide at Luffield to try and get a run out the corner. Liam is effectively driving the car that won the championship last season. Just renumbered to number 94 rather than 88. Rob Lundgren stayed at that team throughout the drivers market window that we did. But at the moment it's Jake Robertson, number 22. Fastest as things stand. He's currently 3rd in the championship on 17 points. So definitely becoming one to watch. I think as well, let me just check it. Bordeaux do lead the team's championship as well, but with his teammate Louis Hankin not turning up this evening, he's going to need to do something special. He's on the back of Steve Burke, and look at the pace that he's carried through there. Now you can't flash your lights in these cars. The lights do come on when it gets dark. That was Steve and Tom just getting out of the way there, going back to the pits. Jake doesn't look like he's improving this time round. Although actually, you know, he's done a purple sector too, so ignore me. The sectors just weren't updating. You could probably hear me clicking away there to try and get it sorted. Around the final corner he goes. This may be an even bigger improvement from Jake Robertson. Across the line. 1:33.793 to beat 1:33.5. Jake Robertson take a bow. Rob Lundgren puts a lap in and goes 16th with a 1:35.1. So it's Liam Silkstone at the moment that we're waiting for. We'll show everybody's lap time so you can just see how close it is. We've only got 4 cars in the 1:35s, 1 car in the 1:33s. As Silkstone puts a lap in, but he's 2 seconds off the pace and he decides to go back to the pits. I clicked on the wrong car. It's Andy Fox going around the final corner. Paul Smith just behind him. There is Paul in the background. See what Andy can do as he crosses the line. He was driving for Dodge MOT last season with Niall Crowther. It's not an improvement. Actually, that was his outlap. Paul Smith up to 9th. Highest placed independent at the moment. Good job, Paul. That'll mean he's 2nd on the grid overall for the sprint race. Now, Ben Lambert was very happy with one of his times in practice. He was right up there. I think he eventually went up to 5th place, but not able to repeat that in this qualifying session, and a bit of an internet issue there as well. A bit of a blip in and out. Calvin Dent, championship leader, is just going to miss out on that pole position here, I think. He's 11th at the moment. As things stand, it's Michael Blake that's going to be there. Josh Rayfield has done a purple sector 2. Let's see what Josh can do. Williams goes up to 11th. Where does Rayfield get to? From 8th. Oh, he improves, but only a tiny bit. To be fair, he put a purple sector 2 in, but sectors 1, 3 and 4 was slower than his best, so not ideal for Josh there. There's smoke all over the place. Oh, look at that. Was that Liam Silkstone? No, it was Rob Lundgren. Humongous slide by Rob. And Calvin Dent gets inside the top 10. He goes 9th, fastest independent, and that puts Paul Smith onto the what will be pole position, 10th on the grid overall. Michael Ellett still going strong out there in 6th place. Just trying to see who's coming to the end of a lap. Michael Blake. Around the final corner he goes. Lets the car run out a little bit too wide there by the look of it. No improvement from him. Steve Burke and Tom Jacobs just crossing the line as well. No lap counted there from Steve. That's an interesting place to go off for Carl Jacquelet. Let's have a look what happened here. Just got sideways on him. You're going to see that a lot tonight, trust me. Michael Blake also had an issue. Oh no, he just went off the track after his flying lap. Right then, who's close to finishing a lap? Michael Elliott's just coming around the final corner in the Team Netcode car. A little bit wide though. Pretty sure that'll give him an incident point and invalidate the lap time. Josh Rayfield and Calvin Dent are close together as well, just behind this. Here they are. We've had a purple Sector 2 from Tom Jacobs. So keep an eye on him and Steve Burke. It's an improvement for Dent. Goes up to 7th. A 134.2. Derek Robb is just on his outlap. So at the moment, as Jake Robertson does another lap, I don't think it's an improvement. It is not. That's his outlap. Tom Jacobs has done a personal best Sector 3 as well. This could be a good time from Tom, and he's not the one getting the slipstream as well. He's trying to give slipstream to his teammate Steve. See what Tom can get. He was fastest in practice. It's a good improvement, 133.899, but it's not quite pole position, I'm afraid. Derek Robb is just going to go on to his fast lap now. Michael Blake across the line again. He's going to do the same. That's Matt Draycott just behind. He's done a personal best Sector 3 on that lap. He's only 5 thousandths quicker than Foxy at the moment, who locks up the right rear into the hairpin. Tries to get away. Ben Williams hasn't been quite as on fire this time round. He's going to be wanting more than this. Down in 12th position. 1 minute to go in qualifying. Can't believe how quickly that's gone by. Honestly, it's quite amazing, isn't it? Looks quite planted at the moment, does Ben Williams' car. They're all on fixed setups as well. So we've just got to see what they can squeeze out of this car. You've seen how hard they have to push to get pace out of it. Ben, oh, he looked like he was going a bit hot into the hairpin there, but he manages to save it. They're all about momentum. And as soon as they start bouncing or sliding, you lose so much. And it is still reversed from 10th Ian, yes. So at the moment, Paul Smith is going to be on pole, with Josh Rayfield second and then Derek Robb third. But don't forget, the top 3 get championship points for their efforts as Jacquelet, Carl Jacquelet goes 3rd fastest. Where has he pulled that out from? Just at the death as well. Carl Jacquelet, sunshine. What a time. So, it's Josh Rayfield then on pole. He just knocked Paul Smith out there. Then it's Derek Robb, Michael Ellett and Steve Burke, Andy Fox and Matt Draycott, Carl Jacquelet and Tom Jacobs, then Jake Robertson, and Michael Blake is, interestingly, in 10th there. I'm not sure why it's reversed 9. Maybe. Odd. Ben Williams will start 11th, with Ben Lambert in 12th. I don't think this is giving me the right grid, you know. Let me just check it. Ah, there you go. It didn't include Jacobs. That's why. Jacquelet, Jacobs, Robertson. No. What? Okay. Well, that's clearly given me the wrong grid, because Robertson is 10th. But anyway, round 3 of the British Boring Car Championship with Josh Rayfield on pole. I think Rob might have jumped the start a bit there. Is away. Look at Michael Elliott off the line. Rob got a nightmare of a start. Elliott's gone straight through. Calvin Dent is up there as well. Down to turn 1. The whole field just trying to stay 2 by 2. Rayfield leads it then. Any contact? Any messing about? Everyone behaving themselves? Good. That's what we like to see. Beautiful. Rayfield then. Down towards Maggots and Beckett's. Dent right behind him. Then it's Michael Elliott. Dent a little bit sideways onto the brakes. Oh, Josh has gone in way too hot, and it looks like Calvin's going to go through down the inside. Side by side, Steve Burke's in there as well. Niall Crowther and Michael Jones are off the circuit. That's a real shame, those two having some sort of issue, but side by side, 2 by 2. Down the back straight they go. Look at this into the hairpin. This is a recipe for disaster. You've got Andy Fox and Matt Draycott in there as well. Can't hear any contact. It's a miracle. Very close to contact there between Foxy and Draycott. Elliott and Burke are still side by side, but Rayfield and Dent as well at the very front. They're still having a battle as well. We'll keep an eye on what happened to Niall and Michael a little bit later. Josh just closing the door on Calvin there. I don't know how he managed to get that done without contact. Looks like everybody still behaving though. I'm really pleased. As we've got Ben Lambert off the circuit. Ben's run wide. Just ahead of him, it's a bit argy-bargy. Michael Blake, Paul Smith, Ben Williams in there as well. But Calvin Dent, your championship leader, will be over the moon at this at the moment. Apologies for the grid graphic being wrong. Josh Rayfield leads them then. Across the line. It's a 15-minute sprint race. So it's Rayfield, Dent, Elliott, Draycott ahead of Burke now as well. So Draycott got it done out of the... Whoa, Jack Allette's very sideways there. So is Ben Williams. Michael Blake making the most of that. I want to see what happened to Rob Lundgren and Niall Crowther. Apparently Liam Silkstone went off. Oh, Michael lost it on his own. Liam lost it and hit Niall into Rob. So he basically used Niall as the cue ball into his teammate. But look at the train of them. All completely together still. Jacobs under attack from Jake Robertson. Jake Robertson down the inside. Tom trying to leave room. Maciej Sakovic is just behind this as well, having a bit of fun with Ben Williams. He's trying to gain positions. Don't forget the top 10 score points. So it's 15 points for a win, then it's 12, 10, 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Burke has made contact with Foxy. Jacquelette's in there as well. Jacobs and Jacquelette in there too. Jake Robertson takes advantage of it. Oh, Ben Williams has had a hit from Paul Smith as well. So it's Derek Robb, not Ben Williams. Michael Blake down the inside. I want to see what happened there with... Oh, Derek. Wow, that was a big one. I was just looking away from my timing screen, so Derek gets out of shape. Oh, Derek comes across. There's a tiny touch with Maciej. That's such a shame. I want to see... Oh, I think Foxy's gone down the inside of Steve. Jacobs tries to avoid Foxy on the way back in. Jake Robertson, great opportunism. It just all gets a bit lively around that section of the circuit. Derek Robb, unfortunately, into the pit lane. Steve now has a bit of damage, and Jake Robertson is in a no-to-phone sandwich. But Jake is going to try and break away from that. Look at Draycott there on Elliott, just at the bottom of his shot. Looks down the inside, nothing doing there. Puts the pressure on Elliott, opens the door. Great run on the exit. Team Red Ring car trying to get up and get 2 of them in the top 3. Just behind, Robertson has now cleared Burke. Jacobs on a good run as well at the moment. Great first couple of laps though. Look at the field just filtering through there. It's epic to watch. Jacquelette on the back of Foxy, and then Ben Lambert on the back of Ben Williams. So the 2 Bens right together. But Josh Rayfield leading this field at the moment. He's got Calvin Dent putting the pressure on. Then Matt Draycott. He's gained 4 places so far. He did similar at Donington Park in the first race. He didn't qualify particularly well, but just gained place after place. I think he got 2 fifth-place finishes. He did, yeah. 2 fifth-place finishes after qualifying 14th. So Matt has shown that he can get through the traffic. Jake Robertson has also done the same. And this is the chase at the moment. There's a bit of smoke here and there. I think Rayfield went a little bit wide. Oh, there's a bit of contact between Robertson and Elliott. Jake having to just take it a little bit easy there. Now Carl Jacquelet is all over the back of Michael Blake. Look at this now. This for a chase. All over the Might Just Fit machine. Carl Jacquelet has unlocked some serious pace here. Jake Robertson has got ahead of Michael Elliott. Is Blake going to leave the room? Not quite sure what happened between Jake and Elliott, but we'll have a quick look back at it. We need to get back to that quickly, though, because that looked like Steve Burke was going through. Oh, Elliott just runs really wide. And he's lost out to Steve Burke, and now Tom Jacobs around the outside as well. So Michael, unfortunately, dropping back a little bit. Andy Fox is in town as well. Down the inside he goes. Michael trying to put up the best fight that he can. It's got close, by the way, at the very front of the field. Rayfield has now got Dent only 0.3 of a second behind him, and then Draycott is only another 0.3 behind him as well. So it's the 2 Team Red Ring cars. They've called themselves the Wenger Boys because they both listen to it while they're racing. Oh, Tom Jacobs and Steve Burke have just swapped places as well a little bit further back. Matt is all over the back of Calvin Dent here. And Calvin is putting so much pressure on Josh Rayfield. Dent's going to get the slipstream on Josh now. Let's see what he can do down into the hairpin. In the background there's just a huge train, but don't forget, all the time that these guys are battling, Jake Robertson's going to try and get in there as well. Oh, Draycott tries to see if the door's open. Dent having none of it. A red ring sandwich, yeah. You know it, Ian. Paul Smith and Michael Blake have got past Michael Elliott now as well, and Carl Jacquelet's gone through. Elliott has now dropped out of the points, I'm afraid. Over the last couple of laps, he's just thrown away positions. But we need to keep an eye on this. We've just hit the halfway point of this race. Jake Robertson won the sprint race at Donington Park, and he's right there, just behind these guys. And then Jacobs and Burke in flying formation. I think there was a bit of argy-bargy there, maybe a tap between Foxy and Burke. Smith wants in on this as well. Andy Fox is climbing all over the back of Steve. You need to be careful with movements like that. These are the closest 2 cars on track at the moment. And you can see they're all queuing up behind to have a go. Sakovic is trying to get in the points ahead of Carl Jacquelet. Still nothing doing there. It's close a bit further down, by the way. Niall Crowther and Liam Silkstone. The 2 Ericsson Hitters cars further down the order. Where's Rob Lundgren gone? There he is. In the middle of the pack. This train is still forming. And it's getting close for the lead as well. I must have a look. Look at these guys now. This is going to get very feisty. Let's keep it clean, shall we, boys? Dent to the outside of Rayfield. Rayfield runs him a bit wide. Draycott might be able to look down the inside, but he can't. And now Jake Robertson is in this fight too. So we've got a 4-car fight for the lead. 9 minutes gone, 6 minutes to go. Look at Rayfield going defensive. He's trying to tell Dent where to go. Calvin's just going to sit there and take the points at this rate. He's leading the championship. He doesn't need to prove anything here. He needs to just get the points. He knows that the feature race is coming up and he's got a long time to do it. And don't forget, the grid for the feature race is the finishing order of race 1. He's all over the back of him now. I don't dare do this, but yep. There is Calvin Dent. And there's Matt Draycott. And there is Jake Robertson. I'm getting very excited. Into Cops they go. Calvin turns in. Draycott's on the inside. He's sideways. Draycott and Robertson go through, and I think Jake's going to get second place out of this. He is. Down the inside. Now Tom Jacobs has also got past Calvin Dent. Let's have a look what happened here. What do you think? Nope, someone's setting off fireworks outside. Great. Draycott's down the inside. Oh, he might have gone in a little bit hot. To be fair, I think Jake Robertson helped out there and tipped Draycott out of the way of Calvin Dent. And now, Jacobs and Dent having the fight. Robertson and Draycott. Oh, Draycott's gone way too hot into there. Now Jacobs goes through. Now Rayfield won at Silverstone last season. He won the feature race here. Partway through the season. What was that? What was that, boys? A massive bang there, and it wasn't a firework. Look at this lot. Jackalette, under all sorts of pressure from Michael Blake and Ben Williams. He's in the last point scoring position at the moment. He's got Sakovic and Paul Smith ahead. Then it's Andy Fox and Steve Burke. Draycott now side by side with Dent. Hopefully he doesn't put a dent in the car. There you go. Wasn't going to take long, was it? Now, the roles are reversed here. Is Dent going to chuck it up the inside and Draycott going to turn in? Looks like a bit of damage on the right rear of Matt's car. Into Cops they go. Kind of want to see what happened to Matt and Jake down into the hairpin, because it swapped over for quite a bit of time on the timing screen. Let's have a look. Matt goes down the inside, way too hot. Nice stuff by Jake to avoid him. Now Draycott's fourth. Jacobs, by the way, in third. That's a great drive so far. But Jake Robertson is the guy that has gained the most places, and he's looking to gain the all-important one and take 2 sprint race wins. We've got Magic Sakovic dropping a place to Michael Blake. I think he gained it and then lost it again. Oh, Ben Lambert's gone off. Having a bit of an excursion there is Ben. But this is the battle to watch, though. Jackalette is now 9th. Blake 10th. Sakovic down to 11th. So he's dropped out the points and Blake has got into them. Ben Williams not really lighting the world alight, on fire, whatever. Not really lighting up the timing screens this evening, I should say. But we've got just over 2 minutes to go now. And it's Josh Rayfield and Jake Robertson right together. Oh, Josh has gone way out wide. The gap comes down. He's still in front. Still somehow in front. He's going to have this lap and one more to do. He needs to keep his head, and he's not. And Jake Robertson goes down the inside and goes through. Jake Robertson takes the race lead in the British Boring Car Championship. And oh, Jacobs has had an issue. Draycott's going to try and go through there now as well. Dent's going to try and push him along. Or is Dent going to try and have them both off? Down the inside he goes. Hero move from Dent. No, he gets it done on the brakes. Matt brakes at the right moment. But Dent gets a nice run on the exit. Now Jacobs is boxed in here. He's going to try and come over a little bit on Calvin, but it doesn't work. Needs to be careful, make sure he leaves all the space. Draycott's going to be happy to see this, because if those two keep fighting as hard as they are, then Draycott should be able to drive away to a bit of an easier podium and not have to worry about it. One more lap to go. Burke is now in on this as well. Jackalette still holding off Michael Blake and Maciej Sakovic. Hats off to Jackalette. He won't mind me saying that he was far from impressive last season. I think he only had 1 point all season until the last couple of rounds. And now he's shown us he's got some amazing pace around here at Silverstone. So Steve Burke's going to have the best seat in the house for this. He's got Tom Jacobs, then Calvin Dent, and then Matt Draycott ahead of him. Rayfield is only 3/10 behind Robertson as well at the front. You know, we'll have to have a quick check on this. Jake is not flying away from Rayfield. It's just the odd 10th here or there. But at the moment, Jake is on for his second sprint race win in a row. The first driver this season to win more than 2 races by the look of it, but Rayfield will fight him all the way to the line. This is the battle behind. Draycott holding on to 3rd. Jacobs 5th. Burke 6th. Plenty of points on offer here for Nodaphone if they can keep this together. Someone else who needs to just keep it together now is Jake, but that mistake from Rayfield is what gave him the race lead. What can Josh do? Jake clips the grass. Josh puts his nose down the inside, nearly makes it work. He's going to be able to get on the power a little bit earlier. Josh takes a bit of a wider line into the final corner, but he's got plenty of lock on. I don't think he's going to get the run. And out of the final corner for Bordeaux, for the second time this season, second time in a row, Jake Robertson takes the win from Josh Rayfield. Great battle to the line. Matt Draycott gains a podium with Calvin Dent in 4th. Then it's Jacobs and Burke. Andy Fox in 7th. Paul Smith in 8th. Carl Jackalette gets 9th, just ahead of Michael Blake. And Maciej Sakovic just outside of the points there in 11th. We've then got Michael Ellett 13th behind Ben Williams, and it's Ben Lambert, Rob Lundgren, Niall Crowther and Liam Silkstone. Michael Jones is going to come across the line in 18th position. And then Derek Robb is another minute or so back. Actually, he's in amongst all the pack. But there is your race winner, everybody. Jake Robertson. What a fantastic drive. Great performance and a great battle there from Josh Rayfield and a good showing from Team Red Ring. They'll be very, very pleased with that one. But we'll show you the race results then, shall we? And bring them up. Here you go. So, Jake Robertson takes it by just 0.2 of a second. Josh Rayfield and Matt Draycott, 2 Team Red Ring cars on the podium in their first appearance together as a team. That's great stuff. Calvin Dent wins the independence class in that race ahead of the 2 Nodaphone cars of Tom Jacobs and Steve Burke. Car 7, P7 for Andy Fox in Might Just Fit. Then the independent entry of Paul Smith, just ahead of Carl Jackalette, who gets 2 points, with Michael Blake getting 1 point. Maciej Sakovic 11th, just ahead of Ben Williams and Michael Ellett, with Ben Lambert, Rob Lundgren, Niall Crowther and Liam Silkstone making the dodgy MOT and Ericsson Hitters war very much known. Michael Jones finishes 18th, and then if we just scroll down a tiny little bit more, Derek Robb a lap down at the very bottom. But your race winner in that one was Jake Robertson, and, well, I don't think we could go any further without interviewing him, but he's actually... Oh no, he is there. Excuse me for a moment, while I just drag him in for a quick word, just to see if he's about, and the fact he's gone straight on means he's unmuting himself, I hope. Jake, well done, mate. 2 sprint race wins in a row. You must be very pleased with that.
Yeah, man, it's pretty interesting. I mean, I had no tyres towards the end of the race there, but it was a really good race from Josh, but happy to take the second sprint race win.
And of course, not having your teammate here this evening as well in the form of Louis Hanker, it means that in the team's championship you've done as much as you can do at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, I can't really do much more. Louis told me earlier in the night that he wasn't going to make it, and it really doesn't matter. He has more important things to do.
That's it,
which is
real life comes first all the time. Talk to me though. I mean, the fact that you had to really work for that one. You know, it's not like you qualified on pole and just drove away. You had to battle your way through from 10th. Did you find that the standards of people you were driving was a lot cleaner than we had in the pre-season test, let's say?
Oh yeah, the standards of driving is pretty mega, to be honest. I got away quite clean. I think 2 incidents. I think if those incidents didn't happen ahead of me, I probably wouldn't have had an easier run to the front as I did. But
well,
yeah,
you certainly made it work, mate, and well done again. 2 wins out of 3 races so far this season isn't a bad record, to be honest. And you didn't have to put anybody into orbit either this time, so it's all good. But
yeah, that's always a plus.
We wish you the best for the next one, Jake, and we'll speak to you in a bit.
Cheers.
Cheers. Right then. Well, another driver that had to really battle his way through in that race and seemed to have a bit of a good run of it is Tom Jacobs, who's currently sat in the pit lane. But Tom, that was quite an interesting race for you. That you had to really try and work for that one, didn't you, mate?
Yeah, we managed to get through. We saw coming up to the train with Rayfield, Dent, and your brother Draycott. Managed to get up there, sticking onto the back of Jake, and then just made a silly mistake coming through Maggots and Beckett's and went way too wide, and it cost me a podium. But yeah, I'm pretty pleased with that result, to be honest.
And obviously, with Steve sort of chasing you down, obviously we saw the two of you working together in qualifying as well. The teamwork ethic has really kicked into action now, hasn't it?
Yeah, massively. He said to me on the straight, he said, if you want the pass, just let me know on the straight and I'll pull over. Because I was lapping roughly, well, I think over a lap I pulled out about a second on him.
Yeah.
Because he was saying he had damage as well. So, yeah, I think it was the right thing to do at the time.
Well, it's certainly working, mate. We hope it does continue, of course, for Vodafone. What's your strategy for this next one? Obviously, you're going to be starting, 5th on the grid? 6th on the grid, I think?
Yeah,
so
5th on the grid, just going hard, I think. And just hope that the old connection holds up. Because, like yourself, I've been having a few issues. But, yeah, I think just going hard. I'm not too sure on pit strategy. I think I need to talk to Steve on that. But, yeah, just go as fast as we can and try and send it to Jake, because he seems to be my main rival at the moment.
Well, you certainly feature race, so let's hope you can do the same again. We'll probably speak to you a bit later on then if you manage to get a podium, mate. But best of luck and send our best to Steve as well.
I will do. Thanks very much, mate.
Cheers. And I tell you what, another guy that had to really work hard in that one there was Josh Rayfield. Now, Josh, mate, you had your work cut out there, didn't you, in that one? That was not a straightforward drive at all.
No, it really wasn't. I had to obviously defend Calvin off for the first probably like half of the race, I'd say, and he was putting really on the pressure on me, and then he had that contact with Matty behind. I'm not sure if that was my fault or not, because I did sort of come across a little bit, but then when Jake was on the back of me, I sort of knew that Jake's dead quick in these cars, and he was a couple of attempts quicker than me every lap, and I just kind of would hold on to that gap, and I turned through.
Yeah, I was going to say, it was that one mistake seemed to just sort of undo the race a little bit. But, I was saying at the end there, you didn't really drop off from him, did you? You managed to keep the pace and you put him under pressure right at the end.
Yeah, at the end, I knew in these cars you can't get the cut back out that final corner, which I did try to do, but I was way too far back. It's only 0.3, but 0.3 in these cars is equivalent to like a second in like a GT3 or something, and it's very hard. But I tried to put it up the inside of him, but I backed out because I didn't want to ruin his race, because I thought I was going to hit him, and I didn't want to ruin mine.
Yeah, we did catch that, and that was pretty fair, to be honest, mate. And we do obviously respect that as well. It's nice to see. But going into this next one, then obviously you and your teammate Matt have both proved that the Team Red Ring cars are quick and right up there for the fight. Do you think you guys can have a poke at a win here if you play your cards right?
Yeah, definitely. I've just been speaking to Matt about strategy and things, because obviously need a bit of that to try and get the undercut on the boys ahead. Personally, I think we're obviously going to be battling with like Tom, Calvin, I think as well, Tom, Steve, Jake, and them lot up the front if we can. Then I think it's going to be really close.
Well,
hopefully.
I'm looking forward to watching it though, mate. I tell you, it's going to be a lot of fun. But best of luck for the next race, Josh, and we'll speak to you later.
See you in a bit, man.
Right, I suppose we should look at some cars, shall we? So there are a couple of cars out on track at the moment, Magic Sakovic being one of them. It's just a warm-up session, so they get 10 minutes warm-up between the races. So we can at least see who's doing what. Niall Crowther out there, Michael Blake, and Jake Robertson also on track as well. But let me know, based on that race, who you think we're going to be seeing at the top of the pile after this one. Don't forget that the grid for this race is the result from race 1, as Michael Blake does a lovely drift there. So that's going to be your grid for race 2. Now, Jake Robertson was pretty ready to drive away at Donington Park until he got a drive-through for speeding in the pits, and that's what gave Calvin Dent the victory. So nobody is immune in this championship. I think it's going to be very interesting to see. Carl Jacquelet was great in that one, and what a qualifying as well from him to get up to 3rd. And he managed to stay in the points as well. I just don't think he had the most straightforward of first segments in the race, did he? With that That bit of contact with Tom Jacobs really put him down. But it did check up quite a bit there, so he can be forgiven for getting involved in that one. Anyone would. So there's Michael Jones back out on track. He made his debut in the championship in that last round. Seemed like a bit of a baptism of fire, losing it at turn 3. But he's here, and he's giving it a go. I'm just really excited to see these cars racing again. Honestly, it's been it feels like forever since we did Season 1 and since we crowned our champion, Dennis Melchip. I understand there was a bit of a frame drop a few minutes ago, so apologies for that, guys. This is Michael Blake then. Going round bridge. Through the left-hander. It's so hard in these cars that once the rear end steps out and they start wobbling, you can't get it to do what you want. Michael and Andy have been putting a lot of effort into making sure they've got this right, but the two teams at the moment that look to be, well, the three teams I should say, that seem to be the driving forces at the moment are Bordeaux, Jake Robertson and Louis Hanker, Nodaphone, Tom Jacobs and Steve Burke, and Team Red Ring of Josh Rayfield and Matt Draycott. Matt, the reigning Independence champion. Michael Blake does a 1:34.6 there, as Jones has a bit of a blink in and out. He's just had new internet put in as well this last week or so. And he thought he wasn't going to make round 1 or even round 2, so it's good to see him here for this second race meeting. So 10 seconds of the session to go, and what it does in these sessions is it literally just cuts off as soon as it gets to the end. And that was the harsh reality that Majek found in qualifying last week at Donington, or 2 weeks ago I should say. Because he was coming right to the line at the very end, and I think he was setting purple sectors as well when he did it, and then he all of a sudden just disappeared. So, we'll have a grid then for the second race of the night. Jake Robertson on pole from Josh Rayfield and Matt Draycott. Tom Jacobs is in 4th ahead of Steve Burke and Andy Fox, and it's Carl Jackalette and Michael Blake, Ben Williams and Michael Ellett, Ben Lambert and Rob Lundgren, then it's Niall Crowther and Derek Robb, and for some reason it's put them in class. Great. That's why it would have gone wrong before. There you go. Right, we need to shut the music up, and we need to get on with this, because round 4 of Season 2 of the British Boring Car Championship is away. Poor start by Dent, good start by Burke. Looks like Robertson, Draycott and Rayfield are at a bit of a deadlock. Look at Ben Williams coming through from the back of the field. Derek Robb's got ahead of Michael Jones at the back of the pack. Rayfield and Draycott side by side into turn 1. Looks like Draycott goes through. There's a little bit of contact there with Jackalette and Blake. Carl may be a bit desperate to hold on to that. He knows how quickly this can go downhill. These guys really don't have many incidents to play with here. 15 incident points before they get a drive-through penalty. 25 is a disqualification. Oh, we've got a car around. Michael Ellett sideways. I think there was a bit of contact ahead as well. But everyone playing for it. Now look at Calvin Dent side by side with Josh Rayfield. Matt Draycott just behind him as well. Tom Jacobs and Steve Burke in this. Nearly 4 wide. Draycott's in the middle. He's going to have to get on the brakes. Burke down the inside. I think there was contact between Rayfield and Dent just in front as well. It's very lively all over the shop here. Oh, it was a big hit. Oh, and that's Liam Silkstone and Niall Crowther having an issue. Liam Silkstone goes off. Let's see what happened here. Liam goes in a bit deep. Oh, Niall's gone in deep. Gets a hit off Derek Robb. Straightens it up and ready. Oh, it's just prolonged contact with Liam Silkstone. Bit poor that. They all stayed in it. Now, what can these Team Red Ring cars do? Look at this behind them as well. It's just an absolute train of Volkswagens. All this time, Jake Robertson is just driving away from the pack in that number 22 car. Look at him. He's gone. Absolutely gone. He wants them all to fight. It's Jake Robertson ahead of Calvin Dent again in a feature race. Jacobs is in there somewhere. Or he should be. His internet's dropped in and out again. Where is he? There he is. Oh, it's going to be difficult for these guys to race with. Rayfield's in there too. Needs to be careful because he's got Jacobs in there somewhere on his right-hand side. And he just reappears just behind. Andy Fox, Michael Blake down the inside of Paul Smith. Maciej Sakovic is in there. Cone gets taken out. I've got to try and make sense of this from the chopper cam. I can't tell who's where. This is great racing once again. Now Blake and Foxy, they made contact at Donington Park last time out. Hopefully not the same again here. No, they behaved themselves. Good boys. Dent has now got Draycott all over the back of him. He had a cone underneath the car for a second there, did Calvin Dent. Draycott trying everything through bridge. Doesn't work. Oh, he's close to the front of his teammate. Speaking of close to his teammate, Steve's going to be trying his very best to get past Tom Jacobs. Calvin Dent is trying to defend so hard from everybody behind him. There's so many cars chasing him down. All in one massive train. And even behind Sakovic as well. Look at this. That's Andy Fox. Michael Blake in there. Carl Jacquelet, Ben Williams. Rob Lundgren's then half a second back from this. Paul Smith's trying to stay out of trouble. But there goes Draycott down the inside of Calvin Dent. Into second place. Now Rayfield having to defend from Jacobs. Who's all over it at the moment. Steve Burke in there as well. Really don't want this to end in tears for any of these guys because of that internet connection. Josh looked like he was going a bit deep into there actually. Managed to get it stopped. Now Draycott's going to try and break away from Calvin Dent. Paul Smith on the back of this as well now. He wants in. Carl Jacquelet has got Rob Lundgren between him and his teammate. It's not been a great first showing for Derek Robb so far tonight, I'm afraid. He's going to want more from this by the time the night is done. Sounded like we had a bit of contact just ahead. Maybe just light contact. Just an epic train of cars. Trying to remember who's overtaken who at what point. Look at Ben Williams on the back of Michael Blake. Michael's car hopping and skipping around. Now Michael and Andy were very keen to be their team's champions for the second season running. Michael Blake was in that team last season with Dave Waldock. Dave was the runner-up in the championship. But these pair together are trying to get Might Just Fit their second team's championship in a row. We'll go on board with Andy Fox, who's on the back of Maciej Sakovic, who's on the back of Paul Smith, who's on the back of Steve Burke, Tom Jacobs and so on. Foxy's got a nice run out of turn one. What can he do about Maciej now? Down towards Maggots and Beckett. You've got to be so safe here. We've seen these cars bouncing around. Never mind when you're trying to battle with other drivers as well. Oh, it looks like Josh has gone very wide just in front. Jacobs in there as well. Another cone gets sent flying. Ben Williams on the back of Michael Blake as well now. Just outside of the points. These are for the last points positions. Just shows you how closely contested this championship is. Oh, Josh Rayfield's off. Josh has gone straight on. No, Josh, what have you done? He said his VR was playing up earlier on, and he said if I go straight on, you know why. Let's have a look. Oh, he's into the back of Calvin Dent very hard. Calvin manages to save it. I don't think he lost a place because of it. He didn't. He's still ahead of Tom Jacobs a bit further up. And here he is. Jacobs still holding on despite that connection. Car 4, P4 at the moment. We do have a pit window. And me being the great series organiser I am. Okay, so it's from 10 minutes until 25 minutes into the race. The pit window. Just for clarity. So we won't see them pit for a little bit yet. All the smoke is coming from Tom's car as he keeps disconnecting and reconnecting. Where's Josh Rayfield got to? He's down in 16th position. He's going to be ruining that, isn't he? Over the grass again. Just breezes past that cone. Now Paul Smith has got Maciej Sakovic all over the back of him. There's no shortage of action, is there? Maciej looks down the inside. A little bit of a tap on Paul, and again Paul squeezes him. Oh, Maciej says not in your life. Andy Fox comes flying through as well. Andy gains a lot bit of a door rub there from Maciej. Maciej just opened that door for everyone else. Look at that, side-by-side kissing wing mirrors through there. Michael Blake down the inside of his teammate now. Andy loses a position. And Ben Williams, he's still trying to get back at Paul here. Still nothing doing there. But look at Maciej now. He's got both the Might Just Fit cars, thinking it might just fit down the inside. 2 minutes before the pit window opens. But that's chucked this battle. Well, it's split it in half, hasn't it? Blake now taking a wide line round Copse, trying to carry the speed, and he has done as well. Don't make contact, boys. I was holding my breath there. Michael Elliott running very wide. Rayfield is trying to get past Derek Robb a bit further down the order. Oh, Maciej looked like he was out of shape there. I think Jacobs made a little bit of contact with Calvin Dent a bit further up. Paul Smith on the grass, taking out the curbs. Ben Williams is now going to try and get past him as well. Oh, get out there. Oh, no, Paul's in the wall. There was the tiniest of overlaps, and Paul didn't leave a car's width. What do you all think of this one? See, to me, Ben should have got out of it there. There wasn't a car's width in Ben's defence, but he should have got out of that one. And Paul now has a very damaged car to deal with, I'm afraid. Michael Blake and Andy Fox just always seem to be right in the thick of it, don't they? Rob Lundgren's just outside the top 10 here. Carl Jacquelet in the last point scoring position at the moment. Jacobs is still right behind Calvin Dent. Still blinking in and out. Draycott hasn't been able to shake these guys, but he's actually closer to Jake Robertson than he was before. The gap is 2.7 seconds. It was 2.9 a couple of laps ago. And Jake was saying, wasn't he, at the end of that last race that his tyres were gone. Maybe he just pushes the tyres a bit too hard. Ben Lambert looking down the inside of Derek Robb. That's for 14th place. I think Josh Rayfield's pushing a little bit too hard just in front there. He's having no luck from it. Rob now looking around the outside. Oh, Ben Lambert. Oh, Ben very late on the brakes. Smashes into him. That's massive damage to Ben Lambert's car. What happened there? I think he just missed his braking point, you know. Oh, he just massively missed his braking point. That was a monstrous hit. So the pit window will be open now. So are we going to see cars pitting? We've got, who was that coming in? Tom Jacobs, the first car in. We've also got Andy Fox, Carl Jacquelet in as well. Michael Blake continues to put more than just pressure, a bit of bumper on the back of Maciej Sakovic. Michael's got a great run out the final corner, still can't make it through. Maciej previously won the BSR Kia Club Series in Season 1. So we've got Jacobs, Fox, Jacquelet, Robb and Lambert in the pit lane. And Paul Smith with what's left of his Jetta. But Sakovic putting in a great job at the moment of defending from Michael Blake. And now Ben Williams wants a piece of it too. Then behind them you've got Rob Lundgren. Great shot back there. The three cars, it's almost like a photo shoot day. into the hairpin once again. What's Michael going to do on the brakes? He's a little bit late, gets his nose down the inside. Can he get the run off the corner? He can. Look at that car just shoot out of there. Ben Williams has got nowhere to go. Now what will they do through bridge? Over the crest of the hill. Chuck it down to the right. Tyres scream for mercy. Ben Williams always a little bit out of shape. Lundgren looking down the inside now. It's lingering Lundgren. Still side by side going into the final corner. And Williams gets the job done. Nice stuff from Ben Williams in the Team Jane Fonda car. That looked to me like Blake was coming in the pits. He is. Jake Robertson has stayed out. Draycott and Dent have stayed out as well. Now Dent doesn't need to worry about Jacob's internet behind him. He can focus on that Team Red Ring car just in front of him. We're not even at the halfway point of this race yet. These tyres have got a lot more to go through. And this is Andy Fox on the back of Tom Jacobs now. In terms of their pit stops, Tom's pit stop was 13.7 seconds and Andy's was 11.5. We've got Steve Burke, Josh Rayfield, Michael Blake and Niall Crowther in the pits. Blake down the inside, Foxy down the inside of Draycott. Steve Burke has come out of the pits ahead of these guys as well. That just shows you how much time Tom lost, and now Fox and Blake are together again. The two teammates that made contact at Donington Park. Jackalette just behind, Rayfield just behind them. Michael Jones is up into 8th position now after the pit stops. Ben Williams, Lundgren and Sakovic, by the way, are all still together. Trying to keep all of this in my head and just try and keep track of it. It's not easy, even with a timing screen, trust me. Ben Williams flinging that car around, though. Making it look very entertaining, very sideways. Onto the brakes. Into the second to last. Still nothing doing there. Looks like Foxy may have got past Jacobs as well. Oh, Tom's internet really not helping him at the moment. To be fair, though, it doesn't look like he's caused any unnecessary contact or any other issues for people. He's a bit wide through bridge. What can Blake do? He just needs to follow his own line now, I think, and plead ignorance if there's any contact. We've got Matt Draycott and Ben Williams coming in the pit lane, so it's going to be interesting now to see what Calvin Dent can do. He's 3 seconds behind Jake Robertson, but can he get away from Matt? Can he open up that gap? Just behind there is Ben Williams. Michael Jones is also in the pit lane. And where is Steve Burke? He is the highest placed car that's pitted at the moment. There is Foxy ahead of Jacobs in the background with Blake behind him. Looks like Steve. He hasn't jumped Matt because there is Draycott further up. And this is still going on. Oh, poor Tom. He's in a might just fit sandwich at the moment. You just got to guess where he is, Michael. Now, Michael's got a good run there out of the right-hander. But he's gone and lost it all again. Thing is, he couldn't go to the inside there and guarantee that Tom's car was still there. So, it's difficult. Difficult situation to be in. Tries to get the run off the corner, it doesn't work. Sakovic and Lundgren, 88 and 89 still together. Jake Robertson, by the way, your race leader, and Calvin Dent, second place, both in the pits. Here are the cars that have pitted so far. So only Sakovic and Ellett have not pitted yet. Ellett's having a good run here, actually. With a bit of clean air, he's actually started to catch up quite a bit. Now Blake is still trying it on Jacobs. Still trying. The cars are starting to get a little bit mucky as well. A poor man's Harry Potter, says Ian Fox. I love it. Oh, it's just so hard for Blake. Now where is Draycott? Draycott's gone through there. Why is Jake Robertson still in the pits? Oh, Jake Robertson's had a 19-second pit stop, so Matt Draycott is the highest placed driver that's pitted now, leading this race. Through Maggots and Beckett's. I'll have to see how he holds his nerve now, because he's got Steve Burke. Don't forget, Steve Burke has won the real-life Brit Car Class 2 Championship, so, ooh, heads, Steve has got no issue in racing quickly. Oh, the two might just fit. Cars make contact again. Ben Williams is trying to wear the cones. Jake Robertson's just out in front of this. Michael Blake, he's going to be sick of that flashing Vodafone car in front of him. It's got to be a distraction. He's got Ben Williams on his left-hand side somewhere. He goes down the inside of Jacobs on the brakes. Nearly a touch. We've seen what happens when you touch Tom's car when it's doing this. Rayfield, by the way, is down in 16th place now behind Paul Smith. Well, next to Paul Smith. He's not having a good time of it. These are for the last points positions as well. Michael Blake, he's in the last points place. Carl Jacquelet just outside of the top 10. A little bit of a tap on Williams. He's sideways. Blocks off Michael Blake. Very aggressive stuff from Ben Williams. Jacquelet goes a bit deep. Magic Sakovic is in the pit lane. And Michael Ellett has gone through. We've had a couple of cars that have had 24-second pit stops. Rob Lundgren being one of them. Michael Jones, 22 seconds. Niall Crowther, 21 seconds. Draycott has gone through and continues to lead this race. 18 minutes of the 30 gone. He's gone very wide out of turn 1. So Steve Burke will gain a little bit more time on him. There is Andy Fox, Tom Jacobs, Ben Williams all doing a bit of agricultural stuff. Jake Robertson enters from stage left. Sakovic comes out behind all that thinking, oh my life, what is this? Jacquelet moves up into the points. It's just a smokescreen when you follow Tom Jacobs' car. Excellent racing though. I hope you're all enjoying this. It's certainly a lot of fun to call the shots on it as well. Please do make sure you share it everywhere, like it, do all that good stuff. Jacobs and Williams side by side again. Oh, Jacobs is blinking. It's a bit tough for him to deal with. But still, fair play to Tom for not making contact with anyone, and fair play to everyone that hasn't made contact with him so far. Because it's been a top effort. Just shows the concentration and the commitment of these drivers. I say that, and it nearly looks like Ben Williams makes a bit of contact with him there. Foxy is on his way into the pits for some reason. Whether he's got a drive through for speed in the pits or something, I don't know. But there is your race leader there, Matt Draycott. Steve Burke is only 1 second back, with Calvin Dent in 4th. Jake Robertson, sorry, is 4th. Calvin Dent is 3rd. Now Tom Jacobs goes to the head of that battle. Niall Crowther and Josh Rayfield all over the back of Paul Smith. I'm not sure what's happened to Andy Fox. I think it is just a drive-through. Let's have a look at this then. Josh Rayfield in the middle. Niall turns in. Josh is ahead of him. He carries the speed around the outside of Paul. Now Niall goes to the right. Paul blocks it. Now what can Josh do into Maggots and Beckett's? Through left. Through the right. Onto the brakes. Josh has gone very deep. Paul holds on. I think Niall goes through as well. Still side by side as they go down towards the hairpin. No, Josh is ahead. 10 minutes to go. Cars are starting to look a bit grubby, and I really like it. Draycott's opened up that gap at the front now to 1.3 seconds over Steve Burke. So this is starting to look like Matt's race to lose. This is Carl Jacquelet in 9th place. Him and his teammate Michael Ellett are both in the points at the moment for Team Netcode, thanks to Andy Fox's drive-through, which has put him down into 12th place. He's just behind Derek Robb, just outside of the points. Oh, Rayfield and Smith. Bit of argy-bargy. And Rayfield manages to get through. I'd be lying if I told you that probably wasn't a disgruntled Paul Smith right now. Williams is trying to finally get past Tom Jacobs after this valiant effort of defence. Michael Blake just so seriously wants to go with him. Nearly a bit of contact there. Williams is still side by side. Sakovic in on this now as well. Carl Jacquelet not too far behind him. Draycott's lead now, 1.5 seconds over Burke, who has got 3 seconds over Dent and then 5 seconds over Jake Robertson. 2 by 2 into the hairpin. This is going to end well. Oh, Williams hits the curb, gets a big bounce, and he's thrown away the chance to get past Tom Jacobs. All of these guys want him to get past, just so he can start freight training through past Tom Jacobs. But what a great defence it's been so far. Still somehow defending. Down the inside, he's got Sakovic tucked up right behind him. Williams on the outside. Onto the brakes again. Oh, Sakovic goes a little bit deep. Back into single file before Luffield. Sakovic just sniffing the back of Williams' car there. Blake is very close to the back of Sakovic as well. This is great stuff. Just in the middle of the top 10, all of these guys. Now Calvin Dent is catching Steve Burke as well a little bit further up. You might see him at the top of his shot. There's Jake, there's Matt, there's Steve, and there's Calvin in the red car. Maggots and Beckett's once again. Is Ben Williams in front? Looks like it. He is. And now Sakovic down the inside. He's gone late on the brakes though. There's a little bit of contact. Sakovic sideways. Williams on the gravel. Comes back across. Oh, Ben! What was he doing? That was a suicide mission from Ben Williams. Just completely chucks it to the left. He's just had so much lock on to get it back on the circuit. It's one of the mistakes that these guys often make in these cars, you know. Let's have another look. So he's just flung it so much lock to the left. And he's just back across the front of Sakovic. And Jacobs still gets through again. But now Sakovic back ahead of Jacobs. Jacquelet has gone past Michael Blake as well. Carl Jacquelet is having a great round. Now, we need to have a bit of a ganders at this. The gap at the front now is 1.7 seconds from Draycott to Burke. He's got 5.5 minutes to go. Calvin Dent, your championship leader, after getting the top 5 finish in the first race, is going to go for a podium in the second race. And Michael Blake and Ben Williams have come in the pits, and I imagine that is to serve a... Well, Williams will be for damage. I think Michael Blake's will probably be a drive-through for contact. Yeah, it is. Ben Williams has stopped and got into his pit box. Sakovic's car hopping. He's going to go a bit deep because he's hit the grass. Jacobs down the inside. And Jacquelet is going to be loving this. Calvin Dent has got past Steve Burke. How did he do this? Let's have a look. Has he just done it in a straight line? Yeah, it looks like he just scares the life out of Steve down there then. It looked like he was almost going to make contact. I can imagine what Steve was saying, but I can't tell you. Side by side through long right-hander at bridge. Jacobs and Sakovic still stuck together. Sakovic finally looking like he's made that stick. Second in the championship going into this race meeting as well was Majek. 5th overall at the moment. Not too shabby at all. Rayfield and Lundgren are together. And this will be a nightmare for one of them. Lundgren looking down the inside. Don't do this to me, boys. This is for 12th and 13th place, with Paul Smith in 14th just behind them. Oh, a little bit of contact there from Lundgren on the back of Rayfield. Josh comes across the front there to make sure he definitely knows he's not happy about that. Sakovic squeezing Jacobs to the left-hand side before Maggots and Beckett's. He's saying, you stay over there. Stay out of my way. Onto the brakes, into the right-hander. He's gone deep again. Jacobs back down the inside again. It's never ending. Absolutely never ending. It's like a time paradox. Such a shame to see Ben Williams dropping down. He's still in the pits and, by the look of it, out of this race. Lundgren is now behind Paul Smith. So he's lost out there after having a poor sector 1. Sakovic looks like he's about to lose out again now as Jacobs gets alongside again. We've got 3 minutes left of this race. Amazing battling all the way up and down the order, but particularly the dance that these two have had. Jacobs has been a real star this evening. He's got a mega run out the left-hander. Majek goes to block it off. Jacobs keeps his nose down the inside. Gets it stopped on the apex and gets in front, but now Majek's going to have the inside for the right-hander at Luffield. Jacquelette's going to want in on this. Let's go on board with Jacquelette. Oh, no, there it goes. Oh, we saw Jacobs have exaggerated contact after his connection last week. And it's wheel banging in Jetters once again. That is the downfall, I'm afraid. Oh, he's lucky that it doesn't go in the wall. I thought that was going to be the end of it. He's still in 8th place, so he's still on for points. Derek Robb, by the way, has gained 10 positions in this race so far. Everybody else, the highest mover is Maciej Sakovic with 6. Michael Elliott also with 6. But Derek Robb, 10 places gained. What a race he's having. Oh, is that Tom Jacobs? Tom Jacobs very sideways into the right-hander. Manages to save it. Scary moment, though. And here are the two Team Netcode cars right together. It's Jacquelette just ahead of Michael Elliott. I was taking the mick out of these guys as they've both got L-E-T-T in their names at the start of the season. Calvin Dent, by the way, isn't even a second ahead of Steve Burke at the moment. We've got 1 minute and 10 seconds left for Matt Draycott. There is around Luffield to start the final lap of this race for Team Red Ring. Him and Josh were both saying how good their team is going to be this season, and they are not one to be sniffed at. Steve Burke's had a great season so far as well. Plenty of consistent top 10s. As they come towards us then, the top 4, 13 seconds ahead of Maciej Sakovic. Here's Rayfield, Smith and Lundgren still glued together further down the order. It's Rayfield then, just holding on from Smith. I think the damage on the front right of Rayfield's car is not helping him one bit. You know, Maciej Sakovic is not getting rid of these two Team Netcode cars here. So it's definitely not easy. There's a cone again getting taken for a ride. I don't know how these marshals get the cones put back on the track so quickly every lap, but they do a great job, so we must thank the marshals. The clock has hit half an hour, which means through Bridge Corner with only this section of the circuit to go. Matt Draycott, not just leading the race in the independence class as he was last season, but leading it overall. And he's going to be absolutely delighted to take his first win in the championship in round 4. Out of Luffield for the final time for Team Red Ring, their first win of the season. And his first win in the championship for Matt Draycott. Brilliant performance, nicely played. Calvin Dent second place. Steve Burke just gets a podium in third. Jake Robertson is fourth. And you can see that means the world to Matt Draycott. Sakovic is going to hold on to 5th place. And what a drive ahead of the two Team Netcode cars. Great performance by Carl Jacquelette and Michael Elliott for 6th and 7th place. Tom Jacobs is going to finish in 8th after a very, very tough race. Derek Robb finishes 9th, gets points in his first race meeting of the season. Andy Fox is 10th. Michael Blake is 11th. Josh Rayfield has another rough ride and finishes 12th ahead of Paul Smith. Rob Lundgren finishes in 14th, and it's Niall Crowther in 15th, and finishing both races in his first race meeting this season, Michael Jones. But Matt Draycott, well, let's start the song again, shall we? Matt Draycott, though, takes your race win from Calvin Dent, who, to be honest, well, Calvin's been very consistent, as Jake Robertson says, thank you very much up the inside. Lovely stuff. But the Team Red Ring driver, Matt Draycott, won the Independence Championship last season, and he said to me, this season he just wants to go one better, and get an overall race win. And he's gone and done it. Jake Robertson, though, one of the stars of the evening. He may have started that race on pole and given it away in the pit stops, but still, what a great drive all round from him tonight. Steve Burke has pulled the car over, but he got a podium out of that. Derek Robb, 10 places gained in that race. Take a bow, sunshine. That's a brilliant drive. Really is. Josh Rayfield will be thinking, what if? After that one, I'm afraid. That mistake really set him up to be battling for not a lot. But there is your race winner, and here is your race result overall then. Matt Draycott takes his first win in the championship ahead of Calvin Dent, championship leader going into this race meeting. I'm sure he'll be doing very well indeed. Steve Burke takes third place, a great podium for Steve, with Jake Robertson fourth and Sakovic second in the independents, fifth overall. Carl Jacquelet finishes in sixth with Michael Ellett in seventh, Tom Jacobs in eighth position with Derek Robb in ninth. Andy Fox rounds out your top 10 and your point scoring positions with his teammate Michael Blake 11th, Josh Rayfield 12th ahead of Paul Smith. Don't forget Paul's racing on a hernia tonight, so fair play to Paul for coming through the entire race meeting. Didn't get any points in that feature race unfortunately, but still top effort. Rob Lundgren 14th, Niall Crowther in 15th with Michael Jones the last car to finish. Ben Williams and his teammate Derek Robb, maybe mixed emotions after that one. Ben Lambert is 18th after his humongous incident, and then Liam Silkstone taken out in the first lap drama. So it's time for one of my favourite parts of the evening, where we interview the drivers. And I'm just going to sit and wait and see who we've got coming up. I just want to have a look back, by the way, because Calvin Dent made a very, very good start off the line. No, it wasn't Dent that made a good start, it was Steve Burke that made a good getaway. And you'll see the difference that it makes down towards turn one. Nowhere to go with his teammate Tom Jacobs down the inside. But we've got some slow-mo on the go, and Calvin Dent, who was championship leader going into this race meeting, joins me in the box. Calvin, that was another good night of point scoring for you. You must be pleased with that.
Yeah, I mean, that was a good race actually. To be fair, I mean, before we went into pits, first few laps, Josh Rayfield, I think he decided to use me as a brake 3 or 4 times, quite quickly. But yeah, no, it was fairly smooth. I don't know how Matty and Steve got such a run coming out of the pits. That was awesome. I mean, they came out of the pits like 2-3 seconds behind me. I was pulling in the gap a bit, but yeah, Matty had too much pace there for me to catch it up.
Well, you got the move done on Steve near the end, and it seemed like quite an easy one down the straight. There was nearly a bit of contact that scared the life out of me, and I'm sure Steve as well, but how were you feeling in terms of catching up to him? Did you think that you'd catch him and make it that easy?
I think he let me through, to be fair. He braked really early into it. I mean, my worry was that if I battled with him, I knew I was catching him, and I was catching him in certain areas of the track quite a lot. And my worry was Jake Robertson was barreling down on everyone, and I was panicking that if I battled with him too much, we'd end up losing another position, or I'd end up battling with Jake right at the end of the race, which would have been difficult. So, kind of glad it went that way, to be fair. Well,
it was certainly looked like a lot of fun. I mean, despite the fact that at the end of these feature races, you know, the top couple of positions seem to spread out a little bit, but I'm sure you were probably quite happy with that, so you didn't have to fight as hard as you did in that first race. Yeah,
no, to be fair, I really enjoyed that. I think I enjoyed the first race a little bit more. That battling was good fun, especially that move on Tom, like sort of halfway around the track for about half of the lap. That was a good laugh. But no, that was good. Really happy with P2 on that one.
Well, it was certainly what you needed for your championship hunt, mate. We hope it continues for you, obviously, and, well, give it a couple of weeks, and we'll be right back on it again with the next race meeting from Brands Hatch. And we're on the Grand Prix circuit there. What do you make of that circuit?
Brands is actually my weakest track in anything I've ever done. So probably not a great one for me. It's I don't know what it is. It's just like a boogeyman, that track for me. It's like I look at it and it decides to just suck all of the time that I try and put into it.
Well, I'm intrigued to see how it goes for you, because I've had drivers say that to me before, that it's their worst track and they don't do good wear, and then they'll take a win. So you never know, you might have jinxed it, mate. But before we let you go and speak to you next time, I'm sure, do you want to give a shout out to anyone?
Yeah, but just same as always, all of the Excite lads, and to be fair, Andy Fox for getting me involved in this, because this has been a great laugh so far.
Cracking. Glad you're enjoying it, mate, and I'll speak to you soon.
Thank you very much.
Cheers
For that.
And, well, it's a bit of an obvious choice to have as our second interview of the night, but eventual feature race winner, I'm sure we're not going to hear the end of this, Matt Draycott joins me in the box. It's finally happened, Matt.
Yeah, there's only sprint race, team championship, and drivers championship to win now.
Well, what did you think when you came out of the pits then and you were ahead of Jake? Was that the sort of initial moment where you thought,
like,
hang on?
Okay.
And when Calvin got past Steve behind you as well, did you think that he was going to really put on a charge and catch you up?
Oh, I wasn't looking at who it was. I saw it was Steve for a while, and then I was just looking at the numbers. I wasn't really looking at who it was.
Well, Calvin got past Steve after a few laps and then just started. To be fair, when Steve got within a second of you at one point and then it opened back up, so from then on it seemed like you had it in the bag. Were there any nerves setting in towards the end, or was it from as soon as you got the lead?
No, I just knew that they'd be pushing, so they'd probably try and brake later and technically go slower almost, because that's 90% of the time that's what happens in these cars. So I just made sure that I got my braking points done, made sure I kept it clean, didn't go off track, didn't make any mistakes. And then when I started seeing that the time was going up, I got very, very happy.
I'm sure.
So then I sort of didn't have to push as hard.
Yeah, well, that's it. It's having that confidence and that sort of moment where you can think, right, let's just keep it level. You can have a chilled last lap. Now, obviously, that sort of begs the question then, with these, obviously, a big bag of points from this evening after a very consistent showing. I mean, you got a podium in race 1 and a race win in race 2. Do you think you can challenge for the overall title this season?
Well, it's the end game, isn't it? Hopefully. But for some reason, I was fast round there, even though I don't like the track. So, which makes no sense. I wasn't really hopeful for tonight, and that's probably the most points I've had in the past this season and last season. So, hopefully, but you never know. We'll wait and see.
Indeed, there's only one way to find out, I suppose. Well, I'll quickly drag in your teammate as well, who had a bit of a lively evening. But before we let you go, Matt, do you want to give a shout out to anyone?
Yeah, Mum and Stepdad are watching downstairs. They messaged me after the first race. Me and Josh both went into the sort of a different chat, and that obviously paid off for that second one. So, big thanks to him for spurring me on, should we say? You for putting it all on.
Smashing, thank you. Well done on finally getting that race win that's been eluding you for so long. And we'll speak to you next time round.
Cheers.
And already in the box with me is Mr. Rayfield, who had a very, very lively time this evening. Josh, the first race looked fantastic with you and Matt sort of gradually making your way up the order and fighting for the lead. That second one, though, that mistake just sort of set the tone a bit, didn't it?
Yeah, it's hard to say, but obviously I went wide as I was coming through the last part of the track, which put me on the grass, which put me behind Matt, and I had to give Tom the room. And then going up towards the hairpin on the next lap, Calvin broke quite early for the corner and caught me out. So I had to basically go straight on, and just so I didn't absolutely ram him and ruin his race, basically. But it's one of those things. I mean, racing's racing, but yeah.
Well, from then on, I mean, it looked like you had quite a lot of good battling, to be honest. It was there was no shortage of action for you, was there?
No, it was really close at the back. I did find I was obviously getting held up a little bit, but then they was actually keeping with me and put me under pressure, so I kept making mistakes. So, and then obviously me and Paul were side by side, I think, and I think it was Ben. Ben went into the back of me, and I got a drive through. So, so that kind of I went to the back again, and I had to work my way through back to 12.
I was wondering why you seemed to have dropped down twice, and that highlights it. But going to Brands GP next time round, obviously a place you know very well. Are you a bit confident going for that one?
Yeah, quite confident, hopefully. I know the track very well, that's the back of my head, basically. hoping I can get a win, to be honest, because I want to get at least one win this season and a few podiums. So I'm basically just going to absolutely send it. Is the easy way to put it.
Always, mate. Always. Well, good to speak to you as always, Josh. Hope it goes a little bit better for you next time round. Do you want to give a shout out to anyone?
Yeah, thanks to like my mum, my dad, everyone who supports me, Gavin, Darren, Connor, and the NLR boys and Mate for being my teammate and helping me. Just been practice sessions and things, pointing things out that I didn't notice.
Well, always good to speak to you, mate. Well done again,
you too,
and we'll speak to you very, very soon.
See you in a bit.
And that brings us to the end of another excellent night of racing, and I'm pretty sure you'll all agree that that was probably as good as we can get. That was absolutely epic. There is that cone on Calvin Dent's car that seems slowing down a little bit. Let us know in the week on Chaz Draycott Media, whether it's on Facebook, Twitter or Instagram, any of your thoughts or any pictures or anything that I put up. Please let me know if you've got any sort of title picks after seeing the first couple of race meetings, seeing which drivers are consistent and who's ready to get their elbows out and get on with it. This has been the British Boring Car Championship, though. My name is Chaz Draycott, and we'll be back with you in 2 weeks' time from the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit, Thursday night at 7:45 p.m. British summertime. Thank you very much, everybody. Have yourselves a fantastic few weeks, and we'll see you then.